And just there was a question from the audience that I actually wanted to step back and make it a bit of a general question, which was that the audience member was really concerned about, the provinces opening up, going back to work, personal risk to them, and one individual was an older teacher. So, and I'm just trying to get a sense from both Dr. Bursey and Dr. Graff, how do you manage the anxiety of you've just spent the last couple of months locked in your home where you've actually felt that there's a security bubble around you. Now the world is opening up again, including you potentially going back into work and other circumstances. How do you manage that?
That's a great question. And I mean, initially the anxiety was around, how are we going to keep safe? But then there is this sense of security bubble. I'm safe in my house. I'm doing all the right things. And I mean, I think a key thing is to be able to get a good sense of what the risk is. And, the slide that you had shown earlier, Gil, about the proportion of people with COVID, in each of the provinces, all of the steps that we can do around distancing. I mean, most of the workplaces that I'm aware of, one is still expected to social distance. A lot of the workplaces are saying we're actually not going to go back the way we were. If you were all in, cubicles, we've now got to spread out the distance. We've now got to put up barriers in between. I think with the teachers with classrooms, we're also hearing that it's not going to look like it used to. There may not ever be a full classroom of children in the class at one time. So getting information to understand what the actual risk is right now. When we're not somewhere, then there's actually some initial what's called anticipatory anxiety. When we're going to have to do something we haven't been doing for a while, we will often feel the most anxiety just as we're moving towards doing that. So, a teacher going back to the school empty of children may still find you feel quite anxious because you haven't been there for quite some time. But it's actually probably safer than it was just before the lockdown with COVID because, it's been cleaned and there's nobody there. But also, asking questions, making some suggestions, listening for and finding out what are the plans in place. There's no one that I'm aware of in any level of government has said this is business as usual. It has been the opposite. It has been, let's start going back because we need to recover economically and socially, but we still have precautions we need to put in place. And so the new reality is meetings like this, 6 feet apart, your hand sanitizer right on hand, and all those other aspects.
I wanted to raise a, go ahead, Dr.
Yeah, I was just going to say 3 points. Hopefully I can make them brief. The first thing, when the epidemic started and in Winnipeg, and we didn't know which direction it was going to go, it might have gone as badly as it's gone in Quebec, but in fact, it's gone extremely well here, and the curve is really flat. But I didn't know that in the beginning, and I actually felt less anxious going to work. I actually felt the safety of being in the hospital. The hospital was a place that was taking precautions, and I felt like I was doing something, and I wasn't at home watching TV. Or being distracted to watch TV when I was trying to do work. So for everybody who's thinking about, should I go back to work now, the answer is yes. And if your workplace is saying we're open again and you need your employment, and clearly once you get there, if you see that they're taking the precautions seriously, then work is a good thing. It's good for your soul, and it's good for your both mental and physical health, and it's good for your household economy. So I get that question a lot from patients, and the answer is yes, you're well and you should go back to work. The second thing is, if you're not well, you should go to the hospital, you should go to your doctor's clinic, because there's been a lot of fear of showing up at doctor's clinics and the hospital. And Leslie alluded to the second bump related to COVID of people who were having their heart attacks at home and not coming in for 2 weeks, and now we're having to deal with the consequences of that. So if you're sick with your IBD, if you're having increased symptoms, and maybe your symptoms aren't specifically driven by your IBD, but they're from something else, don't hesitate to go to your doctor. And if it's beyond a phone call, because you want to see that doctor and have that conversation with her or him, do it. The last thing I would say, and this is just a philosophical thing, and it's not my absolute medical advice, but there's a lot of people we've not socially connected with for the last 2 or 3 months, and some of them are our very loved ones. our children or our aunts or our parents. And speaking personally, I have a 94-year-old mother who's wonderful and quite hilarious, quite frankly, and she's a lot of fun, but she's 94 and living on her own. She has lots of children and grandchildren in Winnipeg, and none of us saw her for 2 months. And how many blocks of months are we going to have with our 94-year-old mother? And by chance, she sprung a leak in her kitchen sink, and so she had to get out of her condo. She came to stay with us for a weekend, and it was really good for all of our soul. It was really good for us to be with her, and I think it's a time in the places that are opening up, you should start reconnecting with the people you need to connect with and sort of merging bubbles. I'd highly encourage that. I think it'll be good for your mental health. Spoke with a neurologist. Dr. Graff, do you think it'll be good for our mental health?
Absolutely, absolutely. We just took a trip to see my parents who are in their 80s, and we did actually keep some distance from them, but it had been 3 months since we'd actually been able to see them in person. So, and it was actually quite a pleasure to be able to do that in a way that was almost unexpected. And it's part of that really appreciating what I think you took for granted before. Good for the soul.